What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Echoes from the Void. Today, I got to speak with the one and only Holly Baglio, and she dropped some serious knowledge. You are not going to want to miss it. And in it we go. Today's topic is spiritual warfare. And what is it, and what do you know about it?
Okay, spiritual warfare. Um, right. What it is to me, so I'll give you my answers. Spiritual warfare is when we have to go to battle or war with spiritual entities when you're battling the kingdom of darkness. Like, for instance, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have sleep paralysis, um, to know to you can't move in sleep paralysis, but when you open your eyes, you're paralyzed, but you can sense there's an evil spirit inside your mind. Start saying your Savior's name. And I say his Hebrew name, if you don't mind. So I say Yahusha, and start saying that in your mind, and then try to speak it out loud. And after you're able to speak his name out loud and the sleep paralysis breaks off, then what you should do is try to actually sit up and say, Heavenly Abba, please clear my bed. I pour the blood of the Lamb on me and my bedroom and my house. Please clear my atmosphere. I bind and cast away any demons that are attacking me and the demons that are causing the sleep paralysis in Yahusha's name, Selah, and he'll get rid of those demons. So spiritual warfare is binding and casting away demons and also protecting yourself from astral travelers. You definitely want to use your full armor of God. Um, you,
What's their main purpose there? Like, why are they trying to just spy on you? Like, what's their main objective?
the demons are astral travelers.
The Astro
They're both.
Travelers.
Well, astral travelers are people that leave their body to try to see what you're doing. And astral travelers can wreak just as much havoc on you, your household, and your pets as a demon can. They can make your pets and kids sick. So, astral travelers are a human being that will leave their body to travel to you or astral project to you, maybe send telepathic messages or summon demons out after you, or even satanically surveil remote view. And when astral travelers do that, they use two demons, they use two fallen entities to achieve such things. So when you go to pray against them, I typically say, Heavenly Abba, I bind and cast away the two entities or demons the person is using to astral travel to me. And Heavenly Abba, please take this person and escort them off my property and slam them back in their body. Bring them back to their body and please engage them because this is the wrong way. In Yahushua's name, Selah. And basically, what'll happen is that person will be their soul. It's like a rubber band. Their soul will snap back in their physical body and they'll feel it. They'll know that you said the prayer that slammed them back in their body. But just remember, it's typical that usually criminals come back to the scene of the crime to see if the victims know who it is yet. So
Mhm.
just keep in mind that the person that astral traveled to you is very well going to pop up. They may call you, send a text message, or you'll see a post or comment from them. So just keep an eye out. So, but they create just as much havoc on you and your household as demons. So be
Wow.
careful. Yeah.
Is there a way to like permanently remove them or no? You just every time just pray.
Just every time I try to, in the mornings and evenings, like to try to say a blanket prayer, if you will. And I'll just say, Abba, I pour the blood of the Lamb on my house. And I go through the prayer that I just said. And I'll ask Heavenly Abba, please send down your warring angels to stand guard around me, to help me bind and cast away the darkness, but to keep me invisible from it. and please have them minister your living words to me and keep me focused on you in Yahusha's name. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a bit creepy.
There-
Someone just hovering over you, staring at you, spying.
yeah, yeah, it's not a good feeling. So,
Wow. So how would someone know that they're having a spiritual warfare attack on them? How can you know? Like, is it like
um,
disaster and problems in their life, or how would they know it's from that?
like you can see the damage of the attack as well as the aftermath. Like you may see somebody with depression and having mental and emotional struggles. That could be a sign. For me, I actually can sometimes see them out of the corner of my eye, or they'll speak and I'll hear them talk in the spirit. They'll reveal themselves. Um, some people might, feel the hair on the back of their neck stand up, but it's usually that I see the damage that they do, the nightmares, um, losing things, dropping things, and events not working out the way they're supposed to. Like when emotions flare up and people are not thinking rationally. So it's things like that when you see somebody having a rough day, basically, it's a demon. Not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah, okay. Can they ever go into more of a physical form, or is it always going to be a spiritual form? Can they like
uh,
manifest themselves into to like start, yeah, knocking, making noise, knocking everything over?
well, there are demons that can manifest. I think marine spirits can hide objects from you. Like if you put your car keys down and you go back to look for them and they're not there. There are, I think, certain levels of demons that can do that, where they can move objects, they will manifest, they can throw you around the room and you don't see them. Um,
Mhm.
and I think I mean, I think or lower, depends which way you're going, but the higher ranking demons, like principalities, they can manifest and materialize.
Hmm.
So it depends, I think, what rank of demons there are. But yes, they do manifest.
Have you ever had a big attack like that on your life?
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I've been tested by Beelzebub, and demons are just going to attack you. They're never going to ask your permission. They're just going, they roam around you like a roaring lion waiting to devour you, and they just wait to see an opening in your life. And they will seize it and they will capitalize it. They will capitalize on things that you don't know, and they won't go away until you learn it. But with Beelzebub, that's the one time when you will be told that you're being tested. Beelzebub will reveal himself to you and say, I'm testing you, or I'm coming to attack you. But the rest of the demons, they're just going to attack with no memo, no notice, no forewarning whatsoever. But
Mhm.
the testing by Beelzebub is specific. And when I went through it, oh boy, Beelzebub revealed himself to me on two separate occasions. The first time I was sitting at my computer and typing away, and I felt this presence enter my living room, and this invisible force approached me. And in the spirit, um, Beelzebub just outright said, I'm going to take everything from you. And I said, You can't do that. All I have is my cat, my dog, my car, and my home. He goes, I'm taking it from you. And I felt this invisible force, being Beelzebub, just leave. It vanished just as fast as it came. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no. Well, um, he wound up also revealing himself to me in my dreams. I had a nightmare with him. In the nightmare, I saw this big, huge elephant, and the elephant was decorated beautifully, like with seats and carpets on it, how they decorate these elephants. But this elephant was huge, and on top of it sat what looked like an Aladdin type figure, um, like a very feminized gay male,
Hmm.
so to speak, very feminized male. And he was sitting on top of this big elephant. And in the dream, this elephant was walking right towards me. And when it swung its big legs, one of the legs landed on um, my cat and killed my cat. Another leg swung, and when it landed on, I think, one of my friends. And I did not see, at that point, I did not see where the other leg swung because I think I was underneath it. Um, but the legs just swung over me and they landed. But every time this elephant's legs landed, it landed on something else that was mine in my life. And when it was all over with, Beelzebub took my cat, my dog, my car broke down, and I was on foot for a long time. And he took my health, and I had to fight for my home, but ultimately I lost that too. So that's a very specific testing, and you will lose everything. But in the end, I baraked Heavenly Abba. Barak means bless in Hebrew. I blessed Heavenly Abba for giving me my cat, my dog, and all the great things in my life. So I was really appreciative to him. And so I came out of that testing with flying colors. I did
Wow.
not curse Heavenly Abba. I blessed them.
Amen to that. Wow.
Selah. Yeah.
You I've heard stories of have you heard the book of Testament of Solomon? I don't know how true that is, but for instance, he revealed himself to Solomon, and Solomon asked him, "What angel do you fear the most?" And like that bound, like yeah, that you're afraid the most. And whenever these things would come to him, he would call on that angel through God to just remove and like kind of bound that spirit. So, how do you know anything about that? Calling the
Um,
certain angels and asking, or probably not.
I've looked into it just a little bit. That fascinates me because Solomon got himself into a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
And when he apparently, what he found out, what these demons don't like, when they say, "Oh, I don't like the smell of fish under a full moon," for example. Well, when Solomon would write all that down, that's what wound up being witchcraft. So don't follow anything that he did because it just wound up being witchcraft. But yeah, that definitely intrigues me because he had a ton of wisdom and still yet these demons tricked him.
If one of these entities appear to you, what's the first thing you should do? So I call on Jesus and rebuke them, or
Yes.
should you ask for their name? I heard some about that. You should ask for their name and then they give it to you.
Well, keep in mind that whether it's Beelzebub or Abaddon or Isis or some other entity, when Satan speaks, the second the first word comes out of Satan's mouth, he's already lied to you. So these entities, they lie to you right off the bat and they'll play a lot of games. Typically, if I want to get rid of an entity, I bind and cast it away. I just say, get out of here. I renounce you in Yahushua's name. Get out. I pour the blood of the Lamb in Yahushua's name. Um, uh, I will always ask Heavenly Abba, how did that thing get in? Is it my sin, or did I come into agreement with a false doctrine or backslidden person? Or did somebody send it? Um, I don't usually look for a name. I just look as to how they got there and how to get them out. But sometimes demons have played tricks and said, well, unless you guess my name, I'm not leaving. So they're tricksters and they put up a fight.
And that's
So,
happened to you before?
yeah, yeah. And it was a Stockian or Stockoian. I may be saying the name wrong, but Stockians, they attach to objects. So I found out that that's the kind of demon it was, and I fasted and I ran back to the object and I was like, you have to go. I pour the blood of the lamb on you and I bind and cast away Stockian demons or Stockian fallen entities in Yahushua's name. And if you got legions and friends, take them with you on your way out. Go. And that thing left. If you ever get stuck in spiritual warfare, please remember that fasting is what gets rid of principalities, and they have legions with them. Without fasting, principalities and their legions are not going anywhere. So if you ever get stuck, just add some fasting. Go before Heavenly Abba and um, just see just see what he wants. He'll tell you. He'll tell you. Or you can also come up with the terms and conditions of your fasting, but just definitely always approach him first and foremost for everything.
Mm,
So,
wow. So if that spirit you said, I can't even pronounce the name, but by that being attached to an object in your house, can that really affect your life? By just that?
yeah, it can make you sick, and yeah, sick and ill. It'll affect your animals too, because don't forget cats and dogs can see the spirit realm. But yeah, it'll wreak havoc. You'll have, I hate to say it like this, but you'll have bad your finger on it, but it just feels like everything slips through your fingertips and doesn't go your way, and something's always off. But yeah, they will wreak havoc on you and your household. No doubt. No
Hmm.
doubt.
How would you know it's there? If someone like can't see in the spirit, like how could they figure out and know it's there? Or they even brought something in?
Um, well, honestly, even if a person cannot see the spirit realm or doesn't have that kind of sense about them, um, just on a daily basis, we should be renewing and refreshing our minds. And just like we say, Heavenly Abba, who art Yahuwah, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. We should also be doing spiritual warfare over our house and households. So, and Heavenly Abba will make sure they're gone. But
Mm,
if you don't see them, to just pray over your house and household daily and nightly, and um,
mm, okay.
yes.
And for us Christians, how could we fully max out the spiritual gifts that God has awaiting for us? How can we get those gifts that He has prepared?
Um, honestly, uh, I would go before Heavenly Abba and ask him for spiritual gifts, and I would keep asking him and stay with it. A lot of times people already have spiritual gifts, but they go unnoticed. They don't recognize his voice. They don't recognize when he's reaching out to them. But for the longest time, I could see things out of the corner of my eyes. But it was not until I stopped and said, Heavenly Abba, what is that? What am I seeing that moves out of the corner of my eyes? Is that a demon? Is that an angel? How to get there? What is it? What kind of gift is that? Um, is there anything else to it? Is there more to it? Can I see the bigger picture instead of just seeing out of the corner of my eye? But go to him and he will give you these spiritual gifts. Um, like all of it, when we go to him, he's spiritual and he's with us now in spirit, and that's who our companion is. And through his spirit we get these gifts. And me, I just basically went up to him and said, Heavenly Abba, what do you have? Because I want it all. I want the gift of prophecy, the gift of sight, dreams and visions. I want it all. And well, I kept on him. I didn't just ask him once. I mean, I kept on him. I was living for him and trying to learn about him every day. So,
And how many
yeah,
gifts do you have now that you know of?
a bunch. but he's very generous. And once he gives you gifts, he does not take them away. But we all have gifts right off the bat, like the gift of healing other people, getting rid of demons. But I do have the gift of prophecy. I've seen Yahusha's return in my dreams on two occasions. I can usually see angels and demons right out of the corner of my eyes. But I also have the gift of sight where I can see other occurrences happening in a person's life. But my focus is usually on demons attacking a person because I can see the person in the spirit and I can see sometimes the wedges that are stuck between them and their creator. And I like to help people get rid of those wedges so they can draw closer to Heavenly Abba. But
Wow. So if you meet
it's
someone,
not just me. He's generous with all of it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if you meet someone
I'm sorry.
who, like, let's say, like an old friend of yours, you guys meet up, and could you see that if they do have a demon attached to them or spiritual warfare going on, can you see that on them and the blockage?
Um, Typically, yeah. Like I could, yeah, I had one girlfriend where when I walked into her house, I could just see the demon sitting on the back of her neck. I've been to conferences where the speaker walking up to the podium or pulpit to speak, he had a demon on the back of his neck, but also down around his shins. um, and looking at somebody, um, if I can't see the demon with my eyes, usually when somebody talks and they start explaining their spiritual life, I can tell right off the bat if sometimes people with their free will do not choose Yahusha. So
Mm.
it is no wonder why a person like that would have demons afflicting them and oppressing or possessing them. But yeah, typically I can just see it on a person.
Wow. What does that look like? Are they just black figures that are just on someone, or is it
Well,
different?
not always, not always. Sometimes they're shiny and sparkly, like these ugly, nasty, foul demons will transform into shiny light beings. And sometimes they're shiny, and sometimes the demons will come in smiles and what looks like glitter and good things, and it's a false light.
Mm.
It's a false light. So they don't always look icky and ugly. Sometimes, they look kind of shiny, but I forget. I
Wow.
forget the rest of your question. Forgive me. What was it again? Because I may have had more to say.
No, no, just like for the people who don't even believe in demons, like for someone, yeah, how could you help them on that?
Yeah, well, just because they don't believe does not make the demons not be there. The demons are still going to be there even though they don't believe. Their disbelief does not change the spirit realm. Um, but for somebody that has disbelief, the kingdom of darkness already has them in the palm of their hand, so they're not going to be having demonic attacks. Somebody who's seeking their creator is going to have a lot of demonic attacks and on a constant basis because the kingdom of darkness does not want us having that umbilical cord with Yahuwah. The kingdom of darkness does not want him giving us gifts. The kingdom of darkness did not want heaven, but they're not going to let you and I have it either. And the kingdom of darkness never fights fair. I got off on a tangent, I think.
No, 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 no. That's so true. Yeah, the darkness is like, I already have this person. Let's focus
Yeah,
on
yeah.
trying to make
So,
the strong people fall off, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But how to get someone to believe in the spirit realm? Boy, I honestly wouldn't know what to say to him because I'm faced with that situation myself, and it's like I haven't found a way yet to try to get through to somebody. So I just try to tell them, listen, your creator is, you know, he's Alua, but he's with us right now in spirit, and through that spirit is how we're healed and cured, and through that spirit is how we get these gifts. And if you say you believe in your creator, then you should understand there's a spiritual side to this. But I think the world has programmed us to only focus on this physical realm and to ignore the spirit realm. So that's also another problem is we've been brainwashed, indoctrinated, and programmed, and people will take a spiritual problem and give it a physical remedy. Like some people will think a spiritual attack is a mental illness and they'll go to a doctor and take a pill. It doesn't make the attack stop. The pill doesn't stop the attack, but Yahusha can stop the attack. But yeah.
Hmm. How many like supernatural encounters have you ever had? Have you had a bunch or?
Yeah, the more closer I grow to Heavenly Abba, the more um like demonic attacks and spiritual encounters I have, because like the scales are off my eyes, so I see things more. I pick up on things that in the past I may have like glossed over, but they're constant. They're
Hmm.
constant. And like when I go to the food store, I make sure to get prayed up before I walk in the store because I don't want other people's demons to attack me. But also, their demons will use them, manipulate them to attack me, and they won't realize it. They're not prayed up and they may have a different belief set than me. But if they're not prayed up, the demons that are oppressing or possessing them could turn around and attack me. So honestly, I have to say spiritual attacks and spiritual warfare for me is constant, 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 constant. So,
Wow. Is that so the more closer you get to God, the more you could see in the spirit too? Like the more insight and
yeah, the more insight, the more knowledge you gain. Yeah, when the scales come off your eyes, I there's a whole world of difference. And the world hates him. And because the world hates him, you're going to be hated too. So, and demons don't want you to be saved. They don't want you to be happy and have life. They want to drag you to hell. They hate you. So they did not want heaven themselves. They're not going to let you have it either, and they're spoiled rotten brats. So, and they never fight fair. But they don't want you to have that kind of light, you know.
hmm. All right, so as a Christian, we just gotta bear in it while our time's on earth, then eventually we'll be free.
Yes, yes, eventually we'll be free. But remember these demonic spirits that were battling during Noah's flood when the flood waters washed away the giants and the fallen ones. Their physical bodies went away, but their spirits are doomed to walk the earth. And those are the things that we're fighting against through these demonic attacks. So they've been around for a very, very long time. Very long time. So.
Hmm. Wow. You speak before that you've actually been to hell. Would you want
Yeah.
to add to that for the people who just think that everyone goes to hell and everyone goes to heaven?
Right. Yeah. Eventually, everybody makes it to heaven or something like that. Yeah. No. If you land in hell, you don't get out. If a person does not want to land in hell, then they can make that decision right now and do something about it right now to avoid landing there. And it's our own personal decisions that land us there. Heavenly Abba doesn't send us there. We decide to go there ourselves. I got off on a tangent. There was something. Can you just repeat the question for me real quick?
Yeah, yeah, like your experience of like you've
That's
been in that darkness and you've like witnessed it for yourself. And everyone who says that we have no free will and that everyone is saved, could you explain that hell is real? And yeah.
So I had uh sorry, the chickens are underneath my window. So in 2007 I was strangled to death. And when I was being strangled to death, I called out to Yahusha and I said, I repent for my sins. I don't want to die. And I said, um, Heavenly Abba, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I'm so sorry. And what happened was I landed in hell. And when I landed in hell, it was where I landed, it was completely black. I was laying on my back, and when I looked down, I could see my spirit body, and it looked like I had a gown on, some sort of covering. Um, but when I landed there, I knew right then and there why I had landed there. Yahuwah did not send me there. I knew that throughout my entire life, I had not done one single thing for him. I never lived for him, never did anything for him. Yeah, big deal. So I would tell my friends and boyfriends that Jesus died for my sins and believe in him and, make sure you pray once a day. But I never lived for him. And that's not living for him. And Heavenly Abba never judged me on what happened to me in the dumps because that was against my will. I was an unwilling candidate for that and I was forced into it. I was born into it and forced to go through that. He had he had huge mercy on me. He never judged me on that. He judged me on my normal life. And honestly, I knew that I belonged in hell. I knew I belonged there because there was not one darn thing that I had ever done for him while I was alive. Nothing. Nothing. And, but when I landed there, um, right before the darkness came alive, and the darkness started to move, but right before it came alive, I felt these two white arms at my back. And Yahusha was carrying me out, and he pushed me back up in this world. He gave me two breaths of air in my nostrils. He also whispered, "Marry me." But let me explain that. Um, and then I heard him whisper, "It's now or never." And I went to sit up, and the guy was still on my chest. And again, I heard the voice say, "It's now or never." And when I went to sit up a second time, those two white arms were at my back to push me up. And I was able to get my hand on the countertop, get myself to my feet, and run out. And I'll stop the story there. But when those two white arms were carrying me out of the darkness right before he resurrected me, he whispered, "Marry me." And what that meant was that he wanted me to make him my foundation, choose him with my free will, and have an intimate, active, personal relationship with him. Not a religion, not a denomination, but to actually live for him and turn to him in a personal, intimate manner. I had turned to all of my friends, but he was never somebody that I turned to like that. So, 7 years after my death experience, I had gotten myself an intimate relationship with him, and like I wound up at Jonathan Cahn's ministry. So I wound up making my covenant with Heavenly Abba December 14th of 2014. I gave him my covenant, and I have a vow of celibacy, and now I try to live for him and live in his ways and obey his 10 commandments, because in obeying his 10 commandments, I have far less demonic attacks to deal with. Um, but yeah,
Wow,
that was a long.
thank you for sharing that. So Jesus is not kidding at all when he says very few make it and find the narrow gate. And
Yeah.
that's like Wow.
Yeah, and here's the key to the narrow gate. This when he says, yeah, why something like wide are the gates to hell and narrow is the path and few find it. That the key to it is living in his ways. When he says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. When we seek him and he shows us that he's real, he becomes a lifestyle. He's more than just a belief, he becomes a lifestyle because you're having a relationship with him and walking with him, and he's very interactive. Churches misrepresent him, and churches steal that intimacy that we should have directly with him. They steal that away from us. We have it with the church instead of directly with him. Um, but yeah, the key to that narrow path is to live in his ways, obey all 10 commandments, and that Saturday Sabbath is really key. Definitely participate in that if possible. And if you work on the Saturday Sabbath, just bring it to Abba and talk to him about it. And you know, it it took me many, many years to turn my life around, to walk next to him. It was not overnight, it was not instantly. And he was the one to change my life. And things take time. Maybe people have like instant turnarounds, but things take time and it's a process. So just live for him. Read, read your Bible and put it into practice. But that's the key to the narrow path is obeying those 10 commandments. And he also has ordained feasts and festivals that are for his followers, not just the Jews. They're actually for his followers. So
Wow. Speaking of the Sabbath, that's one that always gets pushed behind like, no, 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 that's not important. That's not important. But I'm learning now how important it really is and how we need to follow it. So by not following that, we're literally breaking the Ten Commandments. By not
yeah,
doing
yeah. Yeah, so like take that as like a mini vacation that you and Heavenly Abba have. That day is for you and him and to relax. So basically, I don't spend money and I don't work and I don't make anybody else work. And um, Heavenly Abba doesn't make it complicated, but that's a day of rest. And that day was made by Abba for you and me to rest. And it was set up during the 7 days of creation. That's when the Sabbath was made, was during the 7 days of creation, because on the seventh and final day Abba rested. So he didn't change the Sabbath, the world did. But just be mindful and try to take that day and enjoy that day with you and Heavenly Abba if you can, or if you choose to.
that is amazing. That is amazing. Is there anything you want to tell the viewers before we wrap this whole thing up about spiritual warfare?
Um, um, Definitely seek him on everything. Go to him and ask him for gifts. And I just, I don't know. I thank you so much for this time. I don't want to get too preachy, but I really appreciate you letting me talk about this because spiritual warfare is the most important thing that you can learn. Besides seeking Abba, after that, I would say spiritual warfare because we're in the last days and end times, and the veil is really, really thin. And these things, demons and cryptids, they're, you know, it's
Do you
more
believe
common than uncommon.
do you believe we're going to be seeing them a lot more come out from the ground pretty soon? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, to be honest. Stay away from national parks.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much again, and
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Noah.